When I first joined the Southern California Association of Governments, it was over 10 years ago. And I have to tell you, I really questioned the relevance of the organization and why I was even spending my time driving to downtown Los Angeles to be part of it. That isn't the case anymore, and it hasn't been the case for a number of years now. When you look at the amount of work that we do and why we do it, really, what SCAG means to the people of Southern California, it matters. It has impact on people's quality of life.
Southern California is really a mega city, and none of us who live here think we live in a mega city. We feel like we live in a small town, but it's the 7th largest mega city in the world. And so who leads? Who brings all of us together to solve what are regional problems, not local problems?
There is no other entity in this region that could bring 84 different elected officials from 6 counties and 191 cities and bring the business community and make decisions that are unanimous in nature.
SCAG is involved in master planning of all kinds, whether we're talking about transportation. They're greatly concerned with employment and the other things that make it possible.
We're here to solve current problems and long-range problems for the region and to make Southern California into the kind of place that we really want to live in.
What excites me about the work I do at SCAG is the fact that we have multiple stakeholders, and they're not always see eye to eye.
You can have good ideas, but working in isolation, it's like an idea that stays in the lab.
It's leadership that wants to lead, but it wants to do so in partnership and cooperation with everyone, not just we've got a plan and you're all going to follow.
Right now, the relationships between SCAG and the business community are better than they've ever been. And it's not that SCAG does what the business community says, it's just that they two now work together in a collaborative way to try to solve the pressing needs of the region.
We're very fortunate when we face those big issues as a business community, we can look across the table and find a partner like SCAG who understands that and works so well with us.
We have one of the hardest working, one of the highest IQ staffs in anything that I've done. And I've worked private sector, public sector, state level, local level, federal level. I've been involved in all different levels of government and private enterprise.
They put forth good work, good information to inform our elected officials, so when they make decisions, they are informed decisions. The ability of SCAG to influence policies at the state and national level is very clear, and President Becerra and his team were very generous with their time to make sure that SCAG is well represented and continues to be that voice.
When we went to Sacramento this last month, doors were open to us constantly because one, SCAG is that well respected, but also the issues that we're talking about are important and relevant to those folks today.
California is competing with not only all the other states for investment and job creation, but for a great deal of competition from the foreign nations.
Policies are set in Sacramento. They have a broader perspective. Local government makes it happen, and oftentimes there's a disconnect.
When legislation is proposed in Sacramento for land use, that obviously sets off all kinds of alarm bells at the local level.
The networking and the ability to work with elected officials from across Southern California goes beyond just what we're doing here in terms of transportation planning, but in implementing new projects, new ideas, things that we see here that we can say, hey, that'll work in my city and I can make that happen.
SCAG has produced some amazing outcomes, and probably the best evidence of that was our recent adoption of the RTP-SCS on a unanimous vote.
Thanks to SCAG, we were able to fund and build a bypass around the little Imperial County town of Brawley, taking 3,000 trucks daily off its downtown streets. And because of SCAG, the entire Southern California region has individualized plans to predict, manage, and operate the transportation system more efficiently all the time.
The RTP and the SCS are the two most important plans that you will never know about. These are things that, if done right and done responsibly, will improve the way we move people, the way goods are moved, the way we get our kids to school and ourselves to work in a way that is a positive to the environment rather than a negative. How does the regional transportation plan and how does the sustainable community strategy, how does that tie into the economy? Because without a robust economy, without our people working, without families being able to pay their bills and take care of themselves, how are we going to pay for all of the the things that we've planned? We have lost over 1 million jobs during the recession. SCAG has raised this issue and has talked about this issue and put it out in the forefront like nobody else. I couldn't be more proud of the organization, really continuing to push that issue, staying on top of it and not letting it die.
This year, we moved the economic strategy a bit further.
Well, the opportunity to speak to SCAG is absolutely one that I think many elected officials and those who care about public policy view very highly.
They're a fundamental agent for us to work with in our role as trying to represent those who are seeking economic development and jobs for the region.
Well, we see a tremendous dichotomy of economic growth. The coastal areas have grown rather healthy. We've seen parts of the eastern half of the state not do as well, and we really have to create strong economic activity in those regions.
Our continued emphasis on economic development and how we're going to push California to become a job-creating state instead of a job-losing state, I think has had great value. Now we need to expand that and get the labor movement involved, get the working people that are actually going to be implementing some of our plans, bring them into the table.
The filming industry in Southern California is leaving here because, Southern California, the birthplace of the film industry, isn't friendly to film. We used the SCAG distribution channels of being able to reach out to all 191 cities, 6 counties, and encourage them to pass this ordinance, on behalf of the Film Commission and the filming industry so that we could do something very specific, very tangible to get people back to work.
Glenn has been a great leader. He's been an inspiration for many people. He's been a leader for all of us, and he's become a friend to just about everybody in the organization.
Most of the people who dealt with him felt all you needed to do was point him in the right direction, and he would take the initiative to get the job done.
When President Becerra came in, he told me, he said, look, I'm not gonna change direction. I wanna make sure that what Pam didn't finish, I can. And exactly did just that.
My time as SCAG president will really be judged by a future generation, both my son and my daughter. And I hope that they'll give me a passing grade when they're looking back saying, you know what, we have a high quality of life here, we have good jobs here, we have a future here, and it was worth staying because the time that my dad spent investing in the presidency of SCAG.
I think what's been tremendously impressive is, as a leader, how succinctly Glenn can make his point. One of the things I've really admired about Glenn through the years is how he knows how to give a really short speech. I think with Glenn, it's not what he says, it's how much he says. With Glenn, it's not, sometimes he just needs to say things a little shorter.
Hi Terry, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you? Have you seen Glenn?
Glenn who?